5 secrets, guys, to live a life of significance. So the first one is definite goals and purpose, right, toward what you desire in this life. You have to write those down. What are your goals and what is your purpose? Finding out who you are and what you want out of life. Super important. The second one is a definite plan. You got to make a plan. You got to write down those things of what you want and what your purpose is and how you're going to get there. You'll start to be able to create it. The third one, self-support systems to reject all the negative, right? And to be able to take on the positive, to start getting your mind in a positive direction instead of all the negative that kind of weighs us down and starts getting heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier that you almost feel like you can't even stand anymore. Get rid of that negative stuff, right? Especially if you have family that you have to disconnect from. Disconnect to anything that doesn't serve you. We got to get ejected, get rid of it. Yes, does it hurt at times? Yes, but it hurts more by you carrying all this negative weight that you can't even stand straight because you're so filled with stress and anxiety and fear and all these things that hurt and harm you. If people around you are not pouring into you and pouring good energy, you got to get rid of them. You have to disconnect to them until you get strong enough, and then you could be around them and then lift them up. So that's number 3. Number 4, a great positive person in your life for inspiration. You need somebody that's going to be influencing in your life, somebody that's going to be a role model, somebody that you can example, right? You need to be around more positive people. You need to be around positive affirmations. If you don't have any, make them, create them. One of my affirmations I'm going to share with you right now that you write down and you hold on to this. Put it when you go to the bathroom on an index card and paste it right where when you're sitting down, you can see it right there and say it every day, every morning. You go to the bathroom how many times a day? Every time you see that, you say it. I'm abundantly rich, healthy, happy, whole, fit, and complete, and I lack nothing. When you're complete, guys, let me tell you, everything changes. You realize you don't lack anything. You're not fragmented, but we think we are. Our belief system tells us that, and so we live out of that, but we're not. And then number 5, trust God. Be still and know that God is for you and not against you. That there's way more unseen forces in this world than there are seen forces, right? We see by our sight. We live through our 5 senses, our sight, our smell, our taste, our hearing, and our touch. Right? That's how things got wired into our mind. That's how we're wired, by our 5 senses. So I remember I went on a retreat one time, and this retreat was so magnificent, and there was a special smell that I really needed help. I was really depressed. I was really going through a difficult, horrific time. I remember being at this retreat, and I go out on the dock, right, and it's this beautiful lake in front of me. And I remember just asking God and saying, Lord, I need to know that you're with me and that you hear me and that you're for me. I need you to give me a sign. And I'm not kidding you, this beautiful, incredible smell had went by me. Now, meanwhile, there was nothing around, and it was like this beautiful, I want to say, you know those honeysuckles? It smelled like a honeysuckle bush. When I looked all around, there was not any. I smelled it, though, I know. It was this incredible smell of sweetness, of freshness, and I felt God tell me, Kimmy, I am always here for you. You could count on me 100%. I'm always listening. I always am here for you. So that night when I went into the retreat, there was this chamomile, it was vanilla chamomile tea, right? So I thought, oh, and do you know when I smelled that? It was the smell that God gave me. He confirmed. You can always ask God to confirm for you. If you don't believe in God, let me tell you, it's time. It's time to open up your heart. It's time to open up your spirit and let him in. He created us in our mother's womb. He knitted us together. If you don't believe that, then you could believe that just your mom and dad formed you and that you don't have a higher power that is always there for you. Then you'll live a life that's probably very small in a sense of your mindset. Because if you can't think higher, people are human and they'll always hurt us. It's the 80-20 rule. I say you better know 80% maybe you could trust people, 20% you definitely can't. Or you could flip that around. 20% you could trust people, 80% they're going to guarantee to hurt you. Right? So we need someone higher than ourselves to trust. Because trust opens us up. Trust gives us a gateway to happiness and joy. Because when we're closed up and we're like protecting ourselves so much, and we do not allow people to hurt and harm us because they hurt and harm us because we put so much expectation on them that they're to fix us and they can never be human and never make mistakes and never do wrong. We close up hard, right? Like a turtle. And all you have is this hard rock shell and you can't get inside. Guys, when you clam up like that, nothing can get in. Nothing. Just so you know, you got to open. You got to take a deep breath. You got to love yourself well. You got to know that there's someone so great and so big that made a billion galaxies that loves you and is always, always there for you. Unconditional love. That's what we all long for. That's our goal in life is to feel loved and valued and treasured. But God will value, love, and treasure you. People don't, because they're trying to fix themselves. They're trying to get their own mind and mess better. Right? Like, we should take our mess and make it our message. I was a mess for a long time. I'm not anymore because I let God in. I was so protective. I didn't want anybody hurting me anymore because I was so hurt as a child. And it hurt so bad. I was closed up. I couldn't let anything. My shoulders, everything was tight. And then once I started to trust God, and I did it took me 10 years because I didn't know that I could trust Him. And I would just slowly undo one hand, and then I would slowly undo the other hand, think, okay, God, I'm going to start trusting you. And then I slowly was able to let my shoulders rest. I was able to let down and stop protecting myself so much. I could guarantee that people would hurt me, so I stopped putting high expectations on them. I stopped expecting so much of them, and I started to expect more from myself. I started to let God in to build me up, to know that I am worthy. That I am worthy of His love, that I am worthy of greatness, that I am worthy of exponential peace. Peace that surpasses all understanding. I used to live in chaos and fear and confusion and stress and anxiety. No more. No more, because it's a process that I've allowed Him in to just have control and to let me be able to be free and be who I am and be who He created me to be. And I get to make the decisions. I get to create my own life by the choices I make every single day. Honey, He doesn't control us. He gives us freedom to be who we are, because those unseen forces come, and you have to picture this big, beautiful, golden waterfall of water that's sparkly, that's sprinkling in, that's covering you, that's enveloping you, pouring on you, filling you up with power, with love, with significance, with purpose, with greatness, with goodness, right? With courage, with value. You're a treasure. You have to be filled up. You have to see that unconditional love that wants to fill you up, so your cup is not ever half empty. It's always full, and it will always overflow into all those around you. I used to be extremely needy. Now I need nothing. I am so filled up, I can just overflow and become the guide and help other people get there. That's the goal, guys. We want to get so complete inside that nothing affects us. So those are your 5 secrets. I hope this blessed you. And it was worth sharing, because I feel like we all need inspiration. We need each other. We need to love one another as God has loved us, so that we can grow a life of happiness and peace and joy. That's the goal. Love you guys. Have a great day.